there just used to be so many opportunities to go out in the world and see people.
Best Buy will stop selling physical media as soon as Q1 2024. So in like
Quarter 1.
3 months.
Yeah, crazy.
And
That's
this
crazy.
is this has to do with video games and Blu-rays, which is it's very shocking to hear that they're just moving out of this entire space. This is according to multiple sources for the digital bits. Physical media sales could cease as early as Q1 2024. As somebody who has owned a video game store before, I don't know if y'all know this about me, but I owned a video game store back in the day. Companies don't make money off selling video games. The margins are way too small, right? When we would buy a video game that we would sell for $60, it would be between $50 and $55. So we would make $5 profit off it, which is why companies like GameStop push used game sales so much, because the margins are considerably more. Oh, we'll give you $10 for this used game, but we'll turn around and sell it for 40, right? So when a company like Best Buy goes out and buys 100,000 copies of the new Mario game, the margins are so tiny on it. But my only thought would be that they have it there as a way to bring people into the store so they can buy higher margin items. But now it doesn't seem like it's worth it anymore because everything is going digital.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a boomer. I mean, I am just probably a boomer. But I don't like that everything's going digital. I want to have physical copies of stuff. I don't like feeling like things could just disappear. Like, am I a
Yeah.
boomer for that? What for
No,
that opinion?
because like I'm 27, I agree too. So like if everything is gonna be in the cloud or whatever, who can say what they can take away from you, right? You don't actually own it, right? It's just there in the internet.
Yeah.
So if there's no more internet, you can't even hold it. Like it's not even yours. It's not tangible. I don't like the idea of it. I mean, my Xbox has a disc, slot in it and everything, and I always would buy the disc when I used to play on Xbox. But now everything is Steam, and you can't even put those on CDs anymore because you'd have like 5,000 CDs for them. So even then, that sucks. I'm not for it at all because they can just take it away from me. Like, look what they're doing with Disney Plus. They alternate all the scenes in like Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, which is a kids show, Lilo and Stitch, which is a kids movie, and like they do it from like what is it, that Tom Hanks movie with the mermaid where they put more hair on her butt. They cover up her butt on Disney. Like it's crazy what they're doing. So I'm like, that's just nah. That's what we're gonna have eventually. You're not even gonna be able to see the original version of stuff anymore that came out. Like the original versions of games, they're be gone.
Well, I think there's a larger conversation here as the shift to digital. I was actually talking about this to a guy last night I played basketball with. He was like, "What do you think of whatever?" And we were just talking. He has asked about the PlayStation 5 Slim, and we were talking about how the larger issue attached to this is that some games are just going to go away. You'll never see certain games. Like you can still buy games from 1978 right now, right? They were physical games. They're still available, right? You will not be able to buy. There will be some games, and there's some games that have been lost already over the last 10, 15 years with digital downloads and stuff. Hundreds of thousands of games that you can no longer access unless you download them. You can no longer buy them either for licensing rights or they got pulled off the store, a marketplace, a digital marketplace, and they were only digital to begin with. I think of Konami made these wonderful little remakes on the Wii of Castlevania and Gradius and all these like games, these major franchises from the 80s. They remade them. I think they're called Castlevania Rebirth and such. And you can't buy those anymore. Like, so these are just games from a preservation standpoint. You will no longer have it anymore. The only way you'll be able to see these games, you'll never be able to play them, is through watching them on online platforms, whether it's Rumble, YouTube, whatever. Yep. And that sucks. I just think
I
that
see that already with newer games that came out in the last 20 years too.
This is the other flip side of it. This came out earlier today, citing the collector's edition market, right? Because there will always be a collector's edition market. Chris Early, a senior vice president at the company behind Assassin's Creed, offered his viewpoint of box copies and actual discs, adding that he doesn't think they'll ever disappear. So if this is the case from a Ubisoft once again, pretty big company, and they're saying, I think that there'll always be a collector's market. There's an aspect of gifting physical items and allowing access for people to be able to easily purchase a game in a store and gift them to a friend or family. Some people will always want to own a physical disc. I just don't think it's going to go away. Do I think physical discs sales might get lower over time? Sure, but will ever go away? I don't think so. And I think we're all hoping and praying and crossing our fingers, and that is the case, because I hope it's not just from a collector's edition perspective, though, that they just sell the basic version of it as well.
There just used to be so many opportunities to go out in the world and see people and like bond over this stuff, like going into a game shop and talking about like seeing the games, or going to Blockbusters, like talking about movies. And it's just like, it feels like all that stuff is being slowly taken away. And it's just all like instant. And there's no, I mean, I know that there's still lots of like socializing and gaming, but just being actually out of your house and like see people. That's the part I like people. I don't know how I still like people, but I still like people. I like being around people. So I get sad when like some of those like opportunities are sort of taken away, to go into stores and like bond over common interest.
I feel
I
like
don't
no. I think that's totally valid in that when you went to Blockbuster, right? You went to Blockbuster to rent a video, and I think most of our audience has been to Blockbuster except for Blabs. Blabs, do you ever go to Blockbuster as a kid?
I've been to Blockbuster 1,000 times when I was a kid. I even have the plushie still of like the rabbit and the guinea pig.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, though, because when you went to Blockbuster, there was time taken out of your day with an objective of, I'm going to go find something that I'm going to watch, right? And you'd walk in, and there's a slew of different movies literally surrounding you, rows and rows of them. And you take your time and you would ask somebody, hey, what do you think of this? Or, hey, you ask your wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Hey, have you seen this one before? Have you seen this, right? And now you're right, Desiree, it's so instantaneous that that human connection, the feeling that you've devoted something into this movie, into this experience prior to actually starting it, right? Look, I got to commit to it now. It's so easy to on Netflix. I watch movies in like 15-minute increments, right? To where I'll watch 10 minutes here, 10 minutes, 15 minutes here, and I just kind of pick it up and keep going. But when you'd have a physical copy, something from Blockbuster that you went to the store, you picked up, you had to commit that not only the time going there, the time going back, but also the hour and a half, 2 hours that it took to watch that movie in time, because you only had 2 days to watch it, or 3 days, or whatever it may be, So you had to make it a priority, which ultimately I think improved the experience. So I don't know, I feel like there's a lot there. And when you lose physical media, it's I don't know, the world's not as fucking fun anymore. That's all.
That sucks.
We're boomers, y'all. We're boomers.
If you enjoyed that clip, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Would greatly appreciate that, so you can find more clips on the channel. And of course, come join us live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time for our live Side Scrollers podcast. We would love to see you there.